Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. and we'll rise to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda? None that I'm aware of.
None that I'm aware of.
Okay, so we'll start with administrative matters. I'm going to make a motion that we approve our orders for 3/2025 in the amount of $284,000, $422.40. And payroll for 3/18/25 for a total of $20,013.70.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 The minutes, I have reviewed the minutes and I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes from the 3/10/25 meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We have here for you to sign, Seth, the conflict of interest in purchasing policy that was adopted on March 10th. Sarah and I have both signed it. So I'm going to move that we accept that purchasing policy.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The only announcements we have tonight are that the roads are posted for seasonal restrictions. Wheelerville is closed to residential traffic only. He hopes to get that reopened next week, but it seems like there might be some more moisture coming in. So for now, it's closed. And Sarah reports that very few people are disobeying that rule. So, public comment. Does anyone have public comment? No? Okay, then we will move forward. For town business, and again, Seth, this is all in that folder that is left for you. Bring your pen.
Yeah, you got it.
So we have the AOT Annual Financial Plan and Certification that we have signed. We have the notice of the award for Journey's End Erosion Control and Road Reconstruction Project, which is exciting. Sarah, you're on mute. Sarah, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Can we just go back up with the annual financial plan? That just requires a motion to approve.
Oh, okay. All right. I move that we approve the AOT Annual Financial Plan and Certification.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We don't have to move to approve this award, right? That's just information, Sarah, that the...
No, we're gonna move to accept the bid. So let me just give a recap for the minutes. We received 4 bids for the Journey's End Erosion Control and Reconstruction Project. Mosier was $225,805.50. Markowski's was $210,681.94. Hunter was $186,131, and Davenport was $171,125. So at the time of bid opening on March 18th, the apparent low bidder was Davenport out of Pulteney, Vermont. Since then, Chris Baird and myself have followed up on the references provided and received a copy of the insurance certificate. So at this point, they meet the requirements for being a qualified contractor, and Chris Baird is recommending that you accept the bid for Davenport in the amount of $171,125. So what the select board will do is make a motion to approve and accept that bid, and you will sign the notice of award tonight. And with that motion, I'd like you to authorize Megan to sign as the chair the contract and execute the contract with Davenport. And then after we receive the contract back from Davenport, we will execute the notice to proceed. And that gives them authorization to start construction.
Okay.
Along with this paperwork, I am also drafting a letter to all of the residents of Journey's End. 2 different letters, one for all parties that live on Journey's End so that they're aware of the construction vehicles that will be going to the end of the road. And then with a little bit more detail and specifics to those properties that are immediately adjacent to the project location, which is the dirt section of Journey's End from Pryor and Stevens driveway to the end of the road.
Okay.
I'm going to move it.
So,
Do you want me to move it?
you move, yeah.
Yep, so I'll move that we accept the bid from, their name is Davenport.
Mhm.
The Davenport bid and award the contract to them, and that we also authorize Megan to sign the contract and take any other necessary action to move the award forward.
I'll second that. Oh, you go ahead. Seth seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We're excited about this project, and construction is scheduled to be complete by June 13th.
Great.
Great.
And just as in business, Chris, before he left, said that he is still working with you on the structures grant and the Class 2 roadway grant. But he had walked that road with Brian Sanderson and got the information he needed. So you're moving forward with that grant, those grants. The next thing on the agenda is the appointment of the officers. Do we do these individually, Sarah, or do we do one motion for all of them?
You can do one motion for all of them, and they'll be itemized in the minutes. If there's any discussion, you could have a discussion about any specific offices right now. I could do a recap rundown of the ones that we're talking about. There are a few that I'm not sure we have candidates for. And maybe Megan, if you had others that you were following up on, if you heard of any.
Yes, so,
Would you like me to do a recap?
sure.
Okay, so I'm just going to read them down because Seth, I'm not sure you have this in front of you because it was printed at the office. So
I do not. So
it was, it's the road commissioner for 1 year, Chris Baird, with a new term ending of March 31st, 2026. The administrative road commissioner, Sarah Tully, with a new term ending 3/31/2026. The town service officer for 1 year, Mary Ann Reich, with a term ending 4/14/26. Planning commission members for 4 years, Fred Bagley, with a term ending 3/31/2029, and Sarah Buxton, with a term ending 3/31/2029. The energy committee is, this vacancy is usually filled by a member of the planning commission. So I wanted to make a recommendation for Fred Bagley to be appointed to that position. I know he's in the room and maybe he'd be willing to step forward in that role.
And that involves?
Can you explain what that involves to be on the
No.
energy committee?
The energy committee, it is a section in our town plan and our zoning for the town to have an energy committee. So if someone was putting up a large scale renewable energy facility, it would go before the committee and the planning commission, but specifically the energy committee.
Fred's gonna
other-
fall on the sword.
Yeah, the other 2 members of the committee is Terry Kersones and Justin Lindholm. with term endings 2027 and 2028. Fred's appointment would be until 2029.
Okay.
And then, so moving forward, we have 2 members of the Zoning Board of Adjustment, Terry Cressones with a term ending of 3/31/28, and Susanna Lafredo with the same term ending 3/31/28, and there's still a vacancy on that board as well. So Town Recreation, we have had a number of our Town Recreation members choose not to run for re-election or ask for reappointment on this. So we've reached out to a number of people that we thought would be interested. So we have Trish Malloy, Stephen Malloy, Maureen Gibo have stepped forward and submitted in volunteering.
Maureen has not returned my phone call.
Okay.
So she, and then Jessie had some other people she was going to reach out to, but why don't we wait until we hear back from people, and then we'll talk to Larry about, I think Larry had offered to convene the first meeting.
Yeah. So are you prepared to appoint Trish Malloy and Stephen Malloy?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, perfect. On the Cemetery Commission, currently the members are Val Taylor, Chris Baird, and Dennis Charles. We had interest from Bruce Peacock that has been working for the last few years repairing stones in the cemeteries for the town. He's doing that as volunteer work, and he would like to be appointed to the committee. Dennis Charles opted to step back from the committee, but he said he would still be involved as a volunteer. So these would all be 1-year appointments for Val Taylor, Chris Baird, and Bruce Peacock with a term ending 3/31/26.
Okay.
And then the next page, you have an the Emergency Management Director. Our EMD is Lima Carter with a 2-year appointment, term ending 3/31/27. An E911 coordinator for 2 years appointment, that would be Jesse Bridge at 3/31/27. The Rutland Regional Emergency Management Committee, which is a representative with the Regional Planning Commission, excuse me, is a 1-year appointment, and Lima Carter and Val Taylor currently hold those positions with a term ending 3/31/26. The Town Health Officer is a 3-year appointment, recommended by the Select Board to the state of Vermont, and that is Trish Malloy, and that would extend her term ending to 4/30/2028. And lastly, there's the Otter Creek Communication Union District Representative, which is a 1-year appointment for Larry Crissell with a term ending 3/31/26.
Okay. All righty. So should I make a motion to appoint the officers that were just brought forward by Sarah?
Okay.
I will abstain because I'm one of them.
Okay.
Are you making the motion, Megan? I didn't
Yeah.
catch that. Okay, yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. And did you hear Sarah said she's abstaining because she's one of the people?
Yes.
Okay. All righty.
And thank you to all the people.
Yes,
For
thank
serving.
you for all these volunteers. All these volunteers. Okay. So, facility used by BYC, I did not see that anything in writing on that, Sarah. Is that something you were just going to talk about?
Yeah, the facility use agreement. So we have a facility use agreement that was submitted by the BYC in order to use the ball field for baseball.
BYC stands for?
Oh, the
What's
Barstow
BYC?
Youth Club.
Okay.
Yeah, the Barstow Youth Club to use the ball field. Last year, the ball field was also used by Rutland County Little League, but they have not submitted a request to use the facility yet this summer. If we receive one, excuse me, if we receive one from them, we would be coordinating a schedule so that both organizations can utilize the field. In the past, we have waived the fees for the Barstow Youth Club in order to use the field. So this would be a request of a waiver of the fees.
So did I know we mentioned before when we were chatting about this last week about a porta potty. Is that something we provide when somebody's renting the field?
In the past, Rutland County Little League has paid for the porta potty to be placed during the season in which they operate the field use. So that is
if they don't come to us to use it, should we look at providing a porta potty for Barstow?
yes, I would think so.
I would think so too. Okay, well, let's just keep that in mind. Do we need to have a motion on this facility use agreement?
So I'd like you to make a motion to waive the fees.
Okay, I'll make a motion to waive the fees for the Barstow Youth Club to use the Mendon Recreation Field.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The next thing is we have a letter here from Fred Begley about reducing the speed limit for V-Trans. And I put it back in there. Okay. So we are writing to the Vermont Agency of Transportation asking to reduce the speed limit on the Route 4 corridor, and we're working with Rutland Town in this on this project. Fred, do you want to say any more about it?
Rutland Town and Mendon both received a draft letter from our RRPC transportation consultant, and that each town is modifying his draft to suit their town's needs, referencing the other town and vice versa. So our letter is largely similar to what they're submitting, certainly in all the factual stuff. And then their select board is meeting tomorrow night, and we anticipate that the letters will be signed this week. And then we will work with RRPC as to whether we submit them electronically jointly, electronically separately, and hard copies, etc. We can get advice from them. So
Okay.
with a little luck, the signed letters, if they meet your approval, will and Rutland Town's approval will go off.
Yeah, we've already signed it. Just waiting for Seth's signature tomorrow. And then we'll wait to hear from you on how we're going to submit that.
Great. And I'll communicate that to Sarah.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
Does that need to be any kind of a motion, Sarah?
I don't think so.
Okay. And then we were going to review, I'm just going to have Sarah Buxton give us an update on the policy adoptions and review that we had begun. I know you two had talked a little bit about it today. So this is for those of you in the audience. We're here last week. We're updating, trying to get all of our policies updated, put in the same place, and mostly just updated. So Sarah is going to share what she's doing.
Yep, so I've been working with Sarah and with Jesse, and there are a few that that are right front and center at the moment. We're working on the animal control ordinance and just waiting for some review and some feedback from our animal control officer. So I think we may have that one ready to go by the next meeting, because I think I just have to send you a final copy, Sarah, and then we'll get that in the mail. We may have ready potentially for the next meeting also a record retention schedule. Jesse has met on more than one occasion with the Secretary of State to go over the legal requirements for retaining records. And this just sets forth a policy for all employees, officers, and officials to retain certain records, and it says how long you have to retain them for. There were 2 questions I think that she's following up with the Secretary of State on, and then other than that, we probably will be ready with that one. Let's see. We are, sorry, I'm like scrolling down through my notes here.
The next
Oh,
one is
okay.
the fee structure.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So I think we are going to propose that the select board adopt a fee. I think we've talked about this before, just a fee structure for all of them, but it just requires going through each of the ordinances or policies to pull out what all of the fees are and potentially identifying if, I think in each one, we'll just if we don't need to make substantive changes to the underlying policy, we may just make some very modest changes just to refer to this annually approved fee structure. So that probably will not be the next meeting, but it will be probably in the nearer term. And that will have everything from, records copying costs to zoning permits to fees and penalties for violating different ordinances and things like that. So that's probably the next big one. And of the video surveillance policy, just in other towns have a video surveillance policy that just makes sure that we know who sees it, how records like that are being handled, and the coordination with law enforcement. So that one actually may be ready to go for the next meeting. I would put that in the possibility of 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
And on the longer list are the things that Megan mentioned before, which are, interview questions, personnel policy, handbook update, but those are probably a little bit of a longer leeway.
Yeah, and we, we'll be doing everybody's evaluations by July, so that would be more important than the applications.
Okay.
Right now we don't have
The evaluations first. Okay, got it. That's good.
Okay.
So I just wanted to add a couple more to the list on the highway side of things. Is Chris Baird has updated the lockout tagout policy, hazardous communication policy, and the personal protective equipment policy. And that will be available for you to review and adopt at the next meeting. In addition, he is currently drafting a recommendation from VLCT about a key handling policy, which is how the guys or the road crew will store the keys to vehicles. And it would just outline a secure way so that if someone broke into the garage, they couldn't just drive the truck out of the garage. And this is recommended by our insurance company to secure the keys so that wouldn't happen. In addition, he is looking into additional security measures at the garage, getting quotes for things like the sprinkler system. Currently, the building does not have a sprinkler system, and it is recommended, although not required, by our insurance carrier.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't be that, because it's all one floor and it's not drop ceilings, it wouldn't be that big of a deal to put in a sprinkler system.
Right, and it's all open. He just has to get with fire safety in order to figure out what would be required for that building.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
May not be ready for the next meeting, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that is something he's drafting with the help of Vermont Local Roads and VLCT.
Great. Okay. All right, well, that is the last item on the agenda. So I'm going to move that we And this meeting, but then we will be having the, immediately following, we're gonna have a liquor control board meeting to approve the Vermont Inn liquor license. So I'm moving that we
Public comment?
end the meeting. We had public comments before you came in, Brian.
I thought we were doing it at the end of, last time we did it at the end of the meeting.
Brian, we had public comments and you weren't here. We had it.
Only because I wasn't here, because last time we had it at the end of the meeting.
No, Brian, it was
You
on
did.
it was on the agenda for 6:05 before town business.
We've asked to be on the
So-
agenda for the last few meetings, but we're not placed on it either.
So I'm adjourning the meeting at 6:27 PM.
So moved.
Okay,
Aye.
Aye.
okay. And so Seth, I think we're gonna call the meeting of the Liquor License Board to order. And I'm going to move that we approve a first-class restaurant and a bar license and a third-class hotel license for the Vermont Inn.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I'm going to move to adjourn the Liquor Control Board meeting at 6:28 PM.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you so much, folks,
Aye.
for coming. Sorry about the delay in the start time.
Okay, but we're still 6:30.
Have a
So-
great evening.